What is going on, guys? Rewinds here, and in today's video I'm going to be bringing you guys my review for Boruto episode 229, and this is an eventful episode, I would say. Throughout this episode we got a lot of plot movement and we got a lot revealed about this C rank mission. I believe it's C rank mission that is Kawaki's final mission for his Genin exam, where he has to team up with Shikadai and Chocho and help transport this boy to his homeland. And normally this mission would be classified as a higher ranked, as we found out later in this episode, but due to the fact that this kid did not have much money, he kinda decided to go more of a cheaper route, but as a result he also has Genin with him and a Chunin, rather than having a team of like Jonin or something. So the episode starts off with this other kid being tortured for information, and then he gets killed. This is by two different ninja from another land who seem to be after all these kids that are carrying around something with them. So it seems like that kid was killed. He didn't break for a little while, but eventually gave up. That the last remaining kid left with whatever they have, named Mozuku, is actually in the land of fire right now. So what happens is that then we cut over to Mozuku, and he's concerned that Kawaki as well as Shikadai and Chocho aren't that motivated, and he tells them that he's just protecting a vase. So he doesn't really say what he has at the beginning. We later do find out what he does have, but at the start of the episode he doesn't really reveal that. But we do find out from the villains in this episode that so far there have been 6 other kids that have been killed. So it shows you that the stakes are a little high over here, and that something may happen because something important is clearly going on. Then we cut over to Boruto and the rest of Team 7, and they're actually doing a D rank mission, because apparently Kawaki was supposed to do a D rank mission, but then plans changed, so Boruto and his team had to take over for him, and Boruto's really mad about that. But then something interesting that happens is that the villains actually run by them, and Boruto was kind of suspicious of them to begin with, but they don't really go and do anything involving that, and they just let them go by. They could tell though that they were ninja, and they had kind of a suspicious type of look to them, but that's about it. Then we have this nice little scene where Kawaki kind of explains why he wants to be a shinobi. He had this nice little interaction with Chocho where he was given some of her food because he forgot his own because he overslept. Then he also gave Mozuku some of the food as well because he was hungry and kind of acting like he wasn't. So Kawaki kind of explained that he wants to be a shinobi because the person he looks up to the most in the world also is a shinobi, and how he aspires to be like him and how he's inspired by him, aka Naruto. So I thought that was pretty accurate, and it was pretty good of Kawaki to say, because that definitely sounds like the most reasonable reasoning for why he would want to go down this whole shinobi route, despite him considering it a drag so far. Then we move on. What happens is, while this whole scene's happening, these 2 ninja that are sent after these kids go and strike at Mozuku and steal his box. They catch him off guard, and then what happens is that one of them starts getting away while the other one traps them in this blood tree jutsu. And this was probably one of the parts of the episode that I thought was pretty unique, because I don't recall at least seeing a jutsu like this in a while. The main thing I really can consider similar to this is maybe from part 1 Naruto, when we had the spider webs in the Sasuke retrieval arc, but even that was a bit different than what this is. So what happens with this blood tree jutsu is that if you go and you start touching these webs, or branches, whatever you want to call them, and you get touched by the blood, you become controlled by the enemy. And that's the repercussion you face. So Chocho combats this by eating some chips, and then she starts rolling by doing her human boulder, and she breaks it all, but as a result she does get possessed. Shikadai though ends up breaking this by using his shadow possession jutsu, or paralysis jutsu, whatever you want to call it, and catching the enemy off guard by having Chocho turn around and swing at the enemy. And then we do have a little bit more of a struggle, and the major thing that happens is that Chocho takes a kunai hit, so she is pretty severely injured because she protects Mozuku. And then we carry on from there, and what happens is that Shikadai teams up with Kawaki, and they end up defeating this enemy, and I believe his name was Jojo Maru, if I'm right, but it's kind of hard to remember with a lot of these names these days, with some of these characters. They honestly, as characters, they seem like they could make decent villains maybe, but they didn't intrigue me that much. But I will say his jutsu was kind of cool, we'll give him that. From an animation perspective, this episode was very like when the fighting scenes actually happened, you could tell it definitely wasn't the best. I guess some people could pass it as serviceable, but I would say this was a little below average in some parts, and it really showed. So I can't really say that it was okay. It was kind of, and you could tell in a lot of spots where it would be a little worse than what it should be. And then we kind of find out towards the end of the episode, the whole point of this kid, Mozuku, protecting what he has is because there's an epidemic in his homeland. And what happened is the feudal lord has a monopoly on the cure, and only people that are rich can afford this cure, and it doesn't really seep in as quick as the cure that him and apparently his sensei had discovered. His sensei came up with the cure, and the feudal lord had caught word, so he sent off a hit on them to get them all killed. And the result of all of this is this whole chase down we're having right now. And we got Mozuku out here trying to get to a checkpoint where he can meet with the sensei so he can distribute the cure for a much cheaper price compared to the feudal lord, who wants to have a monopoly. So this story, I think, definitely picked up from here. I do like the direction it's going. I'm still not like super duper interested, but I am a little more interested because it seems like some solid writing over here. And then pretty much this episode ends with Shikadai ordering Kawaki to not go with Mozuku anymore, and that he should go back to the village. But Kawaki disobeys this order, and Kawaki decides to go with Mozuku rather than going back to the village with Shikadai and Chocho like Shikadai commanded. So he technically broke the rules, and he might face some repercussions when he gets back. Maybe he won't get promoted to Genin anymore because of this, or maybe there's a chance he does get promoted to Genin because of what he might accomplish in the next episode. I still haven't seen the next episode yet, so I wanted to make this review first before I did that. By now, I think Boruto's at 232 episodes in general, so it's definitely come a long way now, and I think I just finished, this is 229, so I have a few episodes to catch up on, and I will post reviews for them as I keep going through them throughout time, of course. But as for this episode, it was very I thought it was kinda a mediocre episode, and I'm not saying that to really hate on it or anything. It did have some cool moments, but I really didn't like how it was on the animation end, for one. On top of that, the story in this episode was alright. It had, once again, its solid moments, cool things like the blood jutsu, but at the same time, I also felt like it felt very fillerish and one-off-ish, which is kind of what they're going for, I guess, in a way. I do know that this is anime canon, but this episode in general had like that filler feel to me, and that's just my opinion, but that's what I think of it. It wasn't like horrible though or bad or anything like that. Just a mediocre episode. So I'd probably give it somewhere around like a 5 to a 5.5 out of 10. Hopefully the next one is better. It should be the climax of this mission, and I'm hoping we do get something decent out of it. But that's my thoughts on this one. Stay tuned for my next review, Boruto episode 230. Probably going to be coming sometime later in the week because I'm assuming the spoilers are going to drop sometime soon. So I am going to be covering that first, of course. But that's going to be it for this video. Be sure to leave a like if you guys enjoyed. Subscribe to my channel if you guys are new. Hope you guys have a good day or night. I'm Rewinds, and I'm out.